DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Ukraine says elections could happen with Western help. Russia continues to strike, launches overnight air attack on northern Ukraine. Police in the US are treating Sunday's shooting and killing of 3 black people in Florida as a hate crime. As records reveal, the white man who purchased the guns did so legally. ISRO releases the first data sent by its moon lander. It shows higher temperature than previous estimates on the moon's south pole, but it goes down sharply below the surface. And India's Neeraj Chopra wins historic gold in the javelin final, becoming the first Indian athlete to top the podium at the World Athletics Championship. Russia launched an overnight air attack on the northern and central Ukraine. Air defenses were activated with officials reportedly downing 4 cruise missiles. An air alert was also announced throughout the country. Meanwhile, Moscow reported more drone attacks on Russian cities. Our correspondent Dasha Chernyshova has more from Moscow.
Russian Ministry of Defense says it has carried out a high-precision strike against a Ukrainian airfield near Pinchuki in Kiev region. All designated targets, according to the ministry, have been destroyed. It also says that Russian troops have successfully repelled 5 attacks by Ukrainian forces in the Uspenovka and the Robotyno districts of the Zaporizhia region. And in the Kupiansk direction, Moscow says it has repelled 11 attacks by Ukraine and hit up to 120 military personnel. In the meantime, a multi-story residential building in Russia's Kursk region was hit by a Ukrainian drone, according to Kursk governor Roman Starovoyt. No one was hurt, but a number of windows was shattered. Another Ukrainian drone was shot down in Russia's Bryansk region that borders Ukraine. Separately, Russia's investigative committee has confirmed the death of Yevgeny Prigozhin, Wagner boss. Formal genetic analysis proved the identities of all 10 victims. They correspond to the list stated in the flight list, according to the authorities. Dasha Chernyshova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says that wartime elections could happen with Western support. It's his response to calls by a US senator to announce elections in 2024. Zelensky stressed that elections were possible if Europe and the US financially backed the war-torn country. Moreover, he said that elections cannot currently be held under martial law, which must be extended every 90 days and will next expire on 15th of November. Zelensky announced martial law in Ukraine soon after Russia launched its full-scale attack in February 2022. The law allowed military forces to take control of the civilian government. The Ukrainian president also talked about additional voting access for millions of Ukrainian refugees overseas, especially across the European Union.
We need Europe to help us for the most part because Ukrainians are in the majority in the European Union today, and we need to open up appropriate opportunities there so that people could come to the polls. We don't have such infrastructural capabilities. 7 million people have to vote. We need every vote.
Russia's investigation committee says that genetic tests have confirmed the identities of 10 people who died in a plane crash last Wednesday, including Wagner mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. The 62-year-old spearheaded a mutiny against Russia's top army brass in June, which President Vladimir Putin said could have tipped the country into a civil war. The attempted coup ended with negotiations and an apparent deal which saw Prigozhin agree to relocate to neighboring Belarus. Meanwhile, Russians are paying tribute to Prigozhin with a makeshift memorial set up in the city of Moscow as people leave flowers and light candles. Let's get you updates from US now. A man has shot dead 3 people in Jacksonville, Florida, before fatally shooting himself. The gunman has been identified by police as Ryan Christopher Palmita. The police said that the crime was racially motivated, stating that he wrote on about his hatred of black people. The 21-year-old fired 11 rounds at one woman sitting in her car in Jacksonville before entering a shop and shooting another 2 people. Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters said that all 3 victims, 2 men and a woman, were black. Local law enforcement said that the shooter bought his guns legally and had no criminal history.
The shooter killed 3 people before turning the gun on himself, taking his own life. We are not identifying the deceased victims at this time, but I can tell you that there are 2 male victims and 1 female victim. All of the deceased victims are black. The shooter had authored several manifestos, one to his parents, one to the media, and one to federal agents. Portions of these manifestos detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people.
To express their grief, many people have taken part in a vigil for the Jacksonville shooting victims. A church held a prayer vigil to remember the lives of those killed in Saturday's shooting and to encourage a hurting community during a difficult time.
For these residents that did not deserve what happened. They didn't deserve this. We cannot have someone come from another county and shoot up this community. It ain't no black on black crime. It's a hate crime.
Still to come on DD India News Hour, residents of the Florida Panhandle are bracing for tropical storm Idalia with fears that it could strengthen into a hurricane as authorities warn people to finish preparations by Monday night. Protests are continuing across Japan as people demand an immediate stop to the dumping of treated nuclear wastewater. And Sri Lanka is celebrating the 10-day-long annual Festival of the Tooth, with devotees paying homage to the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. And history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine and culture comes together to create an unforgettable impression. Punjab is all set to win your hearts with its unique and colorful extravaganza.
You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to updates from Japan now. Protesters continue to demand government action on Japan's release of treated radioactive water. People opposing the move gathered in the capital of South Korea in protest as they feared a looming disaster from Japan's release of treated radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear power plant. Japan began dumping the water from the plant north of Tokyo into the sea last week, despite objections both at home and abroad from fishing communities and also others worried about the broader environmental impact. Japan's government has warned its citizens to take precautions when visiting China after reports of harassment in response to Tokyo's discharge of treated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the ocean. Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno termed the harassment as regrettable.
A lot of harassment phone calls regarding the Fukushima water release, believed to be originating from China, are occurring in Japan. Many similar cases are occurring at related facilities in China. These developments are extremely regrettable and we are concerned.
Meanwhile, media have taken a tour around the Fukushima plant since water was released. Tokyo Electric Power Company workers were seen seated at the plant's control room to monitor levels of water remained in tanks during the water release operation. Before releasing into the ocean, the treated water will be mixed with seawater to reduce the concentration of chemicals. Japan says seawater radioactivity is below limits near Fukushima. All right, let's get you more on how weather has been bothering people across the world. Residents from Florida Panhandle, in fact, are being warned to begin now storm preparations with fears that Tropical Storm Idalia, which developed in the Caribbean, could strengthen into a hurricane. It is expected to bring high winds and storm surges to the region later this week, with Florida's governor having this to say to those living there.
Now, with respect to Tropical Storm Idalia, it is currently 80 miles off the coast of Cozumel with 35-mile-per-hour winds. It will become a hurricane by late Tuesday afternoon. Landfall is currently expected along the Big Bend region on Wednesday, and it could arrive at the state of Florida as strong as a Category 2 hurricane.
Meanwhile, heavy rain and strong winds have swept across parts of northeastern Spain, with port authorities in Palma saying that the conditions caused a ship to collide with a petrol tanker. In other parts of the country, streets are flooded and trees have been torn down, with buildings also damaged from the flying debris. A massive waterspout has been spotted off the coast of southeastern England, with the UK's National Weather Service saying that the natural phenomena, in fact, happened near the Isle of Wight. Waterspouts are similar to tornadoes, but they form over a body of water. Huge parts of China have been battered by continuous heavy rainfall over the past few days. Authorities warn that torrential rains may trigger landslides, floods and also mudslides in some places. Heavy rains have also impacted railway operations. According to the meteorological satellites, the areas affected by the continued seasonal rainfall will begin to narrow from Monday. And back home, a severe flood alert has been issued for India's northeastern region of Assam, with more than 45,000 people affected. Authorities say the Brahmaputra River could rise by another 30 centimeters, with residents being evacuated by boats. The Taliban says it is banning women from entering Bande Amin National Park in Afghanistan, which is a popular weekend destination for families. It is just the latest setback for women in the country, with Taliban officials defending the decision, saying women have not been wearing hijabs properly inside the park. Since the group regained power, females have largely been shunned down from public spaces, including bans on them attending schools, working and even going to a beauty salon. In Sri Lanka, the 10-day-long annual Kandi Ezala Perahera, or the Festival of the Tooth, is being celebrated with religious devotion at the temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy. The tooth relic of Lord Buddha is a connecting link between India and Sri Lanka, where it is being worshipped as the living Lord Buddha.
The annual Kandi Ezala Perahera is being celebrated with devotion at the temple of the sacred tooth relic, or the Dalada Maligava, in Sri Lanka's Kandy. The sacred tooth relic, which is believed to have mystic powers, was brought from India roughly in the 4th century CE, and since then it is being worshipped in Sri Lanka as the living Lord Buddha. Devotees have reached Kandy to catch a glimpse of the tooth relic during the 10-day-long annual Perahera. As per some accounts, the Perahera concept became popular during the reign of Emperor Ashoka. The celebration, which culminates on Nikini Poya Day, involves daily processions and features combined traditions involving various devalas, dances, performances from drum beaters, whip crackers, and magnificent tuskers atop whom the sacred casket is moved. At an auspicious time, the shrine room is cleaned and the casket holding the relic is moved with utmost veneration.
This is Asala Perahera, it's like a cultural event in Sri Lanka because most of the cultures are connected. So this has a deep meaning inside this Perahera as well.
The festival of Tooth, or Kandy Esala Perahera, is the most apt symbol of the shared heritage of Buddhism that binds India and Sri Lanka. The sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha that was brought from India has been integral to the devotion of people, and this devotion is best seen through this Perahera. For DD India, Ahmed Moin Faruqi from Kandy.
For years, restaurants and food vendors in Tanzania's commercial city of Dar es Salaam have been serving Indian food. The phenomena has helped propagate Indian culture in East Africa. DD India's Daniel Kicho has more on this.
At a fancy restaurant in Dar es Salaam, a taste of India comes to life. For years, Indian cuisine has enjoyed undying popularity among locals and visitors. As a result, some of the city's residents are able to run a thriving business.
We are constantly maintaining because we have the standardization of recipes. So that makes our products you eat today, or if you're eating 3 years back, also you will feel the same taste.
Known for its aromatic curries and creamy coconut milk-based dishes, Indian cuisine draws many adoring fans.
Very flavorful at all times. Like, I've never had a bad moment with Indian food. The restaurants themselves are very welcoming, very nice people, so yeah.
Because of its prevalence in Swahili culture, Indian food is often referred as Swahili food in East Africa. During the colonial era, traders and settlers from India brought their food with them to East Africa. Indian culture has since influenced the region.
Whether it's fine dining in a fancy restaurant or delicious street meals downtown, Dar es Salaam does not disappoint. Be it sweet, spicy or savory, you can find something in almost any part of the city.
Palak Patel, an aspiring food blogger and business owner, says decades of experimentation by cooks in the region have aided the evolution of Indian cuisine.
We have the chicken tikka masalas, we have the butter chickens, we have the jira chickens, we have the naans, and we have the paneers and all of those things. But they've got a special twist to it because of the spices that are used. And I think that is what differentiates us with everything else.
Innovative ideas appear to be keeping Indian culinary traditions alive in East Africa. With each bite, the region's people continue to connect with the culture of the Indian subcontinent thousands of miles away. Daniel Kijo in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Up next, we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Libya's foreign minister has been suspended pending an investigation after holding a meeting with her Israeli counterpart. The prime minister took action after Israel said its foreign minister had met the Libyan diplomat in Rome last week, despite the countries not having formal relations. Sudan's army chief has left the capital Khartoum for the first time since an internal conflict broke out in April. The trip comes after the United Nations warned of regional catastrophe as the violence continues to spread. The army has been fighting the paramilitary rapid support forces over control of the capital and several other cities. Officials say Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan also aims to leave Sudan for talks in neighboring countries after visiting some regional bases. In Yemen, Houthi rebels carried out a large-scale attack in the country's southern province of Laj on Sunday. Officials state that the fighters caught pro-government troops off guard near the border of Lahore and Baida provinces. At least 23 people were killed in the clash, and rebels have also reportedly overpowered military sites in the area. 3 US Marines were killed in an aircraft crash off the coast of northern Australia on Sunday while transporting troops during a routine military exercise. 5 others were transported to Royal Darwin Hospital in serious condition. They were among the 23 Marines on board the MV-22B Osprey aircraft when it crashed. Japan's space agency has suspended its planned launch of a rocket to carry a moon lander into space on Monday. The launch was cancelled because of unsuitable wind conditions in the upper atmosphere. The rocket was carrying JAXA's smart lander for investigating moon. It would have been the first Japanese aircraft to land on the moon. Archaeologists have unearthed a 3,000-year-old tomb in Peru in South America, believed to be the burial site of an elite religious figure. The site was found covered with 6 layers of ash and decorated with ceramic bowls, with archaeologists saying this is the traditional name of priest of Pacopampa. A special variation of the Indian snack known as chaat, named after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has been created by an eatery in Australia, bringing a distinct Indian delicacy to a global audience. Take a look.
A special chaat, now named after Prime Minister Narendra Modi, available at Chatka's restaurant located at Harris Park, Sydney, Australia. The dish is named Modi Ji Special Chaat at the Indian eatery famous for its local Indian cuisines as a tribute after it was praised by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his bilateral visit to Australia while he was addressing the Indian community this year.
चटका की चाट, जयपुर स्वीट्स की जलेबी, उसका तो कोई जवाब ही नहीं है। मेरी आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है, आप लोग कभी मेरे मित्र पीएम एल्बनीज़ी को भी वहां जरूर ले जाइएगा।
The Australian Prime Minister, just a month after the recommendation by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, visited the food joints and tried jalebi, an Indian dessert, along with chaat. Australian PM Albanese termed chaat and jalebi a winner after relishing the Indian delicacies. Prime Minister Modi responded to the tweet by saying, "Sounds like a memorable Friday night, imbibing the best of Indian culture and culinary diversity. A winner indeed, like the India-Australia friendship." The owner of the restaurant thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi and called the renaming of the dish a tribute to him by his restaurant.
2-3 महीने पहले यहाँ पे मोदी जी आए थे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, तो मोदी जी ने चटकास का जिक्र किया था कि चटकास की चाट का कोई जवाब नहीं है.
The customers are also keen on getting their hands on this delicacy that is now named after Prime Minister Modi.
मोदी जी ने रिकमेंड किया था चटकास का चाट, तब से हम चाट की हर एक आइटम टेस्ट कर चुके हैं यहाँ चटकास में, और स्पेशली तो मोदी जी का चाट ये खाके जो मोदी जी की मिठास है वही इस चाट में है. वाह वाह.
Prime Minister Modi and PM Albanese had laid the foundation stone of the Little India Gateway at the event at Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney this year, a sign of the growing Indo-Australian ties. With Bureau Inputs, Akshay Dongre's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour, India's top science advisors are set to discuss the country's pressing development issues when they hold a roundtable event later on Monday. One of the biggest financial programs in India, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, reaches a major milestone. More than 500 million people have now joined the financial inclusion plan. And celebrations are continuing following the success of India's Chandrayaan 3 moon mission, with kids from the city of Bhubaneswar making replicas of the spacecraft from chocolate.
turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such change makers. Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and for the viewers who've just joined in, let's get to the recap of the top stories we're tracking this hour. Ukraine says elections could happen with Western help. Russia continues to strike, launches overnight air attack on northern Ukraine. Police in the US are treating Sunday's shooting and killing of 3 black people in Florida as a hate crime, as records reveal the white man who purchased the guns did so legally. India's Space Research Organization has released the first date of data sent by Chandrayaan 3 mission, saying the temperatures on the moon's surface go sharply up with an increase in altitude. And India's Neeraj Chopra wins historic gold in javelin final, becomes the first Indian athlete to win a gold medal at the World Athletics Championship. In a first of its kind, Chandrayaan 3 profiled the temperature of soil on the moon's south pole. The Indian Space Research Organisation shared the updates of the observation. It said that the temperature could be somewhere around 20 to 30 degrees Celsius on the surface, but it is 70 degrees centigrade. In fact, on the surface, it is 70 degrees centigrade, and the observation was made with the help of CHASE or Chandra's Surface Thermophysical Experiment payload on board its Vikram lander. Nilesh M. Desai, who is the director at the Space Applications Center in Western City of Ahmedabad, said the observations present an analysis of the soil at the lunar south pole, along with the temperature fluctuations up to 10 centimeters beneath the surface.
चास्टे पेलोड जो इनिशियल एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हैं उसके जो नतीजे सामने आए हैं कि लगभग 8 से 10 सेंटीमीटर तक वो जा सकता है, तो 8 सेंटीमीटर तक के डेटा जो हमने लिए हैं उसके मुताबिक -10 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड से लेके +50 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड के अलग अलग डेटा 10 सेंसरों ने कलेक्ट किए हैं.
And celebrations are continuing after India's successful moon landing, with the touchdown point where Chandrayaan 3 landed now being called Shiv Shakti, with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi making that announcement.
चंद्रमा के जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान 2 ने अपने पद चिन्ह छोड़े हैं, वो पॉइंट अब तिरंगा कहलाएगा. ये तिरंगा पॉइंट भारत के हर प्रयास की प्रेरणा बनेगा. ये तिरंगा पॉइंट हमें सीख देगा कि कोई भी विफलता आखिरी नहीं होती, और जहां पर चंद्रयान 3 का मून लैंडर पहुंचा है, वो स्थान आज से शिव शक्ति पॉइंट कहलाएगा.
This was a historic announcement when Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached ISRO and bowed down to India's knowledge, science and research tradition. Naming the spot where Chandrayaan 3 landed as a Shiva Shakti and the area on the moon where Chandrayaan 2 left its footprints as Tiranga is a reflection of our timeless heritage, our tradition and our development. This is the evidence of the emergence of a new India, at the root of which is the deep knowledge of the ancient sages.
हमारे ऋषियों ने कहा है, येन कर्माण्य पशो मनीषिणो यज्ञे कुण्वन्ति विद्येषु धीरः यत्पूर्व यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिव संकल्पमस्तु. अर्थात जिस मन से हम कर्तव्य कर्म करते हैं, विचार और विज्ञान को गति देते हैं, और जो सबके भीतर मौजूद है, वो मन शुभ और कल्याणकारी संकल्पों से जुड़े.
In his address to ISRO scientists, the Prime Minister taught the new generation a lesson that it should be proud of its ancient heritage as well as preserve and promote it.
मैं चाहता हूं कि भारत के शास्त्रों में जो खगोलीय सूत्र है, उन्हें साइंटिफिकली प्रूव करने के लिए, नए सिरे से उनके अध्ययन के लिए नई पीढ़ी आगे आए. ये हमारी विरासत के लिए भी जरूरी है और विज्ञान के लिए भी जरूरी है.
Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India is moving forward with impressive strides in science, technology and modern development, while preserving its ancient faith, cultural and spiritual heritage. The period after 2014 is witness to the rise of cultural nationalism in India. With the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, the campaign to proudly restore the ancient glory of the country is in full swing. We got a glimpse of India's pluralistic culture when Sangol, a historical symbol of Tamil culture, was installed in the Temple of Democracy. The new Parliament House is not just a building, but an attempt to connect our history, cultural heritage, tradition and civilization with modernity. The walls of the new Parliament are decorated with the symbols of Indianness. The conch shape of the Bharat Mandapam, dedicated to the nation recently, and the configuration of its Panch Mahabhutas gives the world a new understanding of ancient culture. The passing of the National Research Foundation Bill in the last Parliament session, the promotion of mother tongue in the new education policy, the promotion of yoga, Ayurveda and Ayush illustrate how India is progressing through knowledge, science and research by cherishing its heritage. With Ashwini Mishra, Rahul Singh reporting for DD India.
The second and final G20 Chief Science Advisors Roundtable is taking place in the western state of Gujarat under India's presidency. The Chief Science Advisors will address issues related to scientific research, technology development and its deployment. Delegates visited the Modhera Sun Temple for the cultural programs on Sunday. India also held bilateral meetings with Saudi Arabia, Australia and the UK on the sidelines of the second meeting of G20 Czar on Sunday. Also, the delegates discussed key share points. The G20 India Agri-Tech Summit is also happening here in India's capital, New Delhi today. The summit is being seen as a flagship event exclusively dedicated to the revolutionary field of agriculture. Discussions will center around innovations in agri-tech and their impact on the agriculture sector, as well as sustainable farming practices in the digital age. A G20 cultural meeting has concluded in Varanasi with a common outcome document for action. G20 culture ministers visited historical places like Sarnath, and they were also taken to a museum and an archaeological site at Sarnath. Sarnath is the place in northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh where Lord Buddha delivered his first sermon.
India has more than 20 World Heritage Sites inscribed and many others to be discovered by the world. So yes, it's one of the ancient civilizations. So I believe that many things will happen with India and UNESCO in the years to come.
It was a very productive meeting. There's always more to do, and we look forward to continuing the conversation about how important culture is to all our countries and how we need to work across the globe collectively to ensure we protect incredible heritage like this.
It's been excellent. We've had very good discussions. The Government of India has organised a brilliant presidency, and the Culture Ministers' track has been a really excellent meeting. It's also been wonderful to do it here in the ancient city of Varanasi and to enjoy so many of the wonderful cultural highlights that India has. And I'm, as the Minister from the UK, it's a delight to see the long-standing friendship and links that there are between our countries, the living bridge there is between Britain and India, and to discuss some of the ways we can deepen that relationship and continue the friendship and work in collaboration together.
And up next, we take a look at other stories making news across India. Security forces in the Indian state of Manipur recovered 11 types of ammunition during a search operation on Sunday. The combined teams of state police and central security forces are making efforts to recover the arms and ammunition that was snatched or taken from the state police during recent violence in the state. Manipur police say that several checkpoints have been installed in different districts, adding that as many as 1,405 people have been detained from different districts over security violations. Also from Manipur, the state government has taken up an alternative route for transporting essential commodities to the Churachandpur district. Also, the new route is through Assam Silchar and Mizoram's Aswa. During due to a disruption on the Imphal-Dimapur route amid the ongoing violence in the state. The plan is being carried out in coordination with the Army, Central Armed Police Forces and Assam Rifles. At least 10 people are dead and 8 others are injured after a massive blast at an illegal firecracker factory in the eastern state of West Bengal, which tore the roof of the building. Authorities also say that 3 of the wounded are children, with district magistrate vowing to crack down on people involved in illegal explosives schemes. In India's southern city of Chennai, excited motor enthusiasts was stoked as a village car exhibition with 68 cars and 20 bikes rolled into the town. The exhibit showcased vintage models of Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Austin and Jaguar. Auto lovers also rejoiced as they relived the nostalgia and also took pictures with the classic beauties. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Oil ticks higher after China moves to support its flagging economy. In sports, the ICC Men's One Day International World Cup inches closer. India will host the 45-day-long tournament at 10 locations. It takes 2 to tango. 20th anniversary of the World Championship in Buenos Aires shines a spotlight on glamour and rhythm to enthrall the audience.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such change makers. Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Welcome to Delhi. Narrator of umpteen tales, creator of historic folklore, to the Delhi of today that is proud of its past, to the Delhi of tomorrow that's charting a glorious future, to lanes, to foods, to ever-changing city moods, to walls, to historic gates, and everything in between, to art, to theatre, and an ode to the inner creator, to bhavans, to path, to melting pot of cultures, to a kaleidoscope of celebrations, to ghazals, to guftagus, to green spaces, to shrines, to deities, to devotion, to hope, to the city that is the heart of India, to the India that the world knows by its philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as we unite under
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. India's financial inclusion plan has hit a significant milestone with over 500 million accounts now registered. The PM Jan Dhan Yojana launched in 2014 with the goal of getting more people into the formal banking sector. And to talk on this achievement, DD India correspondent spoke to Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Minister of Finance, Vivek Joshi. Let's listen in.
As India celebrates 9 years of Jan Dhan account, we have crossed about 50 crore accounts in this segment. This was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi about 9 years back. I'm joined by Finance Secretary Vivek Joshi ji. Welcome to DD India. How do you look at the reasons for this scheme to be such a grand success? In the last 9 years, I mean, we are touching 50 crore accounts right now. So what are the reasons behind this success?
So there are, many reasons for the success of this scheme. This has been the grand vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, and he launched this scheme on 28th of August 2014. And in 9 years, we have been able to achieve around 50 crore accounts till August 2023. And that is very satisfying. And many agencies of the government, outside the government, have worked it to make it as a public campaign, people's movement, and that is why we have been successful to come up to this number.
Now that we have touched 50 crore accounts, what next for the ministry? What are you targeting? Maybe another 50 crores in the next 5 years?
If we look at the total number of accounts and the total population of the country, then we will see that we are almost near saturation. So, I mean, covering another 50 crore is slightly tall ask. So if we look at the total number of accounts, including these 50 crore account, they are approximately 160 crore. Whereas our population is maybe approximately 136 crore or 137 crore. I mean, it's anybody's guess. So we are near saturation, but still there are people who need to be covered under this scheme. They need to be opened their account. Each year we are adding almost 3 crore new beneficiaries into the fold of this scheme, and we will continue doing that, for which we take various campaigns at different points of time. We just finished one campaign in last July. We propose to do another campaign from October. In these campaigns, we not only cover this Jan Dhan accounts, but we also motivate the participants of these scams for enrolling themselves in PMJJBY and PMSBY, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi, for joining us, and wish you many more success in this sector. And we at DD and India also wish that this Jan Dhan account, which is a noble cause taken up by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to include the marginalized section into mainstream banking and financial services. With camera person Kumar Dutt, this is Dibyendu Mondal for DD India from New Delhi.
And Asian shares rallied on Monday as China announced new measures to support its ailing economy. Beijing on Sunday said that it would halve the stamp duty on stock trading in the latest attempt to boost the struggling market, and followed steps to support the housing sector. Oil prices rose slightly in early Asian trade on Monday as focus turned to economic readings from the world's largest oil importers due this week. Prices were still nursing 2 straight weeks of losses as hawkish signals from the Federal Reserve and signs of rising US production curbed optimism over major supply cuts by Saudi Arabia and Russia. US fuel demand is expected to slow in the coming months as the travel-heavy summer season comes to an end. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now to get you sport updates. India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has bagged the gold medal at the World Athletics Championships being held in Budapest with a throw of 88.17 meters. Chopra is the only Indian athlete who will bring home a medal. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the golden boy for winning a gold medal. Writing on his social media platform X account, the talented Neeraj Chopra exemplifies excellence, says the Prime Minister. He further says that his dedication, precision and passion makes him not just a champion in athletics, but a symbol of unparalleled excellence in the entire sports world. Congratulations to him for winning the gold at the World Athletics Championship. And also Indian Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur also congratulated Neeraj Sharma on winning a gold medal. The minister says the entire nation is proud of his achievements.
The golden boy of athletics, I must say that he has done it again. We are so proud of his achievements. Congratulations to Neeraj Chopra. 1.4 billion Indians feels proud today. And not only Neeraj Chopra, but the other two players have done also well. We're among the top 5. There were about 3 players who have done extremely well. And I'm sure they'll keep it up for the next Asian Games and the Olympic Games.
In steeplechase, Indian athlete Parul Chaudhary finished 11th in the women's 3,000 meter final, setting up a new national record of 9 minutes 15.31 seconds. The result means Chaudhary goes under the entry standard of 9 minutes 23 seconds to qualify for the 2024 Paris Olympics. And India's 4x400 relay team finished 5th, while the team from US claimed gold. France won silver and Great Britain won the bronze medal. The Indian relay team had earlier set an Asian record time in the semi-final heats, but they could only manage a 5th place finish, clocking a time of 2 minutes 59.92 seconds. The ICC World Cup trophy is now in Africa as it makes its journey around the globe. The trophy, currently in Uganda, is on a tour of 18 countries globally. South Africa, the last stop for the trophy, will represent the continent at this year's Cricket World Cup tournament that will be played in India. Our correspondent Leon Senyenge reports from Kampala.
The ICC World Cup Trophy Tour made a stop in the Pearl of Africa. Uganda welcomed the trophy that will be competed for in October by 10 countries. India is the host of the 2023 Cricket World Cup.
Being so close to the trophy is something, a very different, distinct kind of feeling.
The excitement cannot be underscored. You very well know that barring the under-19s who have the bragging rights of being the only team that have played in 3 World Cups in Uganda.
And one man that knows things about World Cup cricket is Davis Karashani. He has played at 2 under-19 Cricket World Cup tournaments.
When you're growing up as a youngster, picking a bat and ball up as a young 6-8-year-old boy, your dream is basically to play in the World Cup. So for those players who get the opportunity to play in the World Cup itself, it doesn't get any better than that. It's a moment that you cherish for the rest of your life.
Uganda has won several International Cricket Council awards in the recent past, and there have been positive developments around the game. In a country where cricket has had a profound liking, the presence of the World Cup trophy could inspire future generations.
And we just completed some lovely shots with the kids. That's what we want to see, that this sport is bringing kids from different backgrounds, from different areas of life, and enjoying it, bringing them together.
This year's ICC Men's Cricket World Cup starts on 5th October. It will be the 13th edition of the one-day international cricket format tournament. The trophy heads to Nigeria and West Africa for its next stop. It will then travel to South Africa for the final journey on the continent. But the excitement is already building up for what is bound to be a competitive World Cup tournament. Leon Senyange at the Chambogo Cricket Oval in Kampala, reporting for DD India.
And children wearing vibrant costumes have kicked off the London's Notting Hill Carnival, and the annual event held in London is the largest street party in Europe. Take a look at these beautiful visuals. On that beautiful, colourful note, we end this edition of News Hour here. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, which is formerly known as Twitter, and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off. And from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.